Hi, my name is Benny Johnson. As some of you know, I've been struggling with addiction. However, I decided to change my life and went into recovery. I've started this podcast 90 Days Clean, and I want to take you along in my journey. What does lie ahead of me? Let me be frank, I do not know. Will I ever drink again? I do not know. This is how Stairway to Redemption was born. It is my search for answer in a real-time process of what is going to work for me. It is then my aspiration to help you figure out what's going to work for you. It is our journey together. Hey guys, welcome to Stairway to the Redemption. Today's episode is going to be a solo one. Not sure if you love them, but they are the hardest episode for me to produce. I feel like I'm rambling a lot. And also I think I'm a better listener than talker. Well, anyway, bear for me for about half an hour. I haven't done this in a while. I like to do a solo episode once, every 5 episodes, I believe, 5 or 6 episodes, to keep you guys updated with what's going on with me, since I cannot, go in details while I'm interviewing somebody. As usual, let's start with the state of the mind address. I've been feeling accomplished lately, like I'm getting stuff done. The podcast is running smoothly, more or less. I put content on my Patreon page constantly, which leads me to talk about the Patreon for a second. So far, I have 2 series. Addiction in Fiction, where friends and I talk about movies that depict addiction and recovery. So far, we discussed Clean and Sober, the movie from 1998 starring Michael Keaton, and also 28 Days, starring Sandra Bullock. The next movie that we should release in it should be Flight with Denzel Washington, a good one too. The other series is Recovery Studies, where yours truly makes a deep dive into recovery self-help books. I'm currently dissecting Rewired by Erica Spiegelman, a book that I cannot recommend enough. So far, I published 2 chapters, two audios episodes on 2 chapters, the one on authenticity and the one on honesty. The first episode of both addiction and fiction and recovery studies are free on the Patreon page. Please, guys, support us. We have 2 tiers. First, I've almost forgot. There's also another type of content called a roundtable topic, where we discuss, some roundtable with some friends, like usually it's Katie and Rich. Shout out to you 2 guys, Katie and Rich. We just discuss topics of recovery. So we have 1 episode on it on the Patreon page. And so please support us, guys. We have 2 tiers. One $3 tier, which is like basically my buy with me coffee tier, just to show support and love, and the $5 tier, which unlocks everything. Running this solo can be hard on my finances when I'm talking about this. Is basically the podcast and everything. It's all out of pocket. I would like to start paying my talented graphic designer, Diana, if you listen, shout out to you, who has been working for free since the inception of this venture. I would like to start paying, remunerating her for her services. Please show us your love. Subscribe to our Patreon page. It's at patreon.com/stairway to redemption. Yes, all one word, Stairway to Redemption. Also, we are also available on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you look for Stairway to Redemption and you see the logo, all episodes now are available on YouTube. All right. So that's it for the Patreon page. Move on. So I've been working a job in retail at the suggestion from my counselor when I was in rehab. I'm now basically done with my outpatient program, and I feel now is the time to get a job back in my field. For those who don't know, I'm a software engineer, which is a profession that pays well. At the time when I got out of rehab, I deemed not wise to go right back to that profession that pays so much because, it wouldn't be wise to make that much money and be tempted to just spend it on or going back to my old habits. That could be very tempting, for some people who are in recovery. Making money is making a decent amount of money is a trigger. For most people, you have money in your pocket, you pay your bills, you don't respect the value of a dollar, boom, you're back at it. So going a job in retail was very beneficial for me. Twofold. One, not knowing that not even the same, even if I made 4 times less, knowing that not a cent of that money was going into alcohol was very, very satisfying. And also working in retail, you deal with people sometimes, and knowing how to deal with people personally helped me. I'm surprised that I didn't punch anyone while I was there. I mean, joke aside, sometimes it's common for those who work in service industry know that people like to take their frustration on you. Like it's common knowledge. But like I said, no way I would have been responsible enough to manage that money. Now it has been 10 months since I've got out, and frankly, working minimum wage sucks. There is a saying, the expenses always rise to meet the income. Although my expenses have considerably lower since I'm no longer drinking, I still have difficulties managing my income. At this moment, when I try my time, I work roughly an average of 30 hours a week and spend about 18 hours a week at the gym, which I will circle back to a couple minutes. I ideally would like to keep the same working time, the same ratio at the new job. But what kind of place let you work 30 hours a week on salary, which leads me to my two options. I could create my own schedule if I freelance as a software engineer. That's the perk from freelancing, but the drawback is I'm gonna have to build my own clientele, which may take some time. Or go back to corporate job, which will most likely impede on my workout schedule, one, and also could affect the podcast. Should I post every 2 weeks instead of weekly? That's an option. I'm gonna think about it. But yeah, I at the moment cannot cut on the hours I spend gym, and I'm gonna explain this in a second. Yes, like I mentioned earlier, the importance of fitness in my recovery. I mentioned earlier that I spend in average 18 hours a week at the gym. I go 6 times a week and have one rest day. Yes, I recently got into kickboxing. I think since I got out of inpatient, which has been very instrumental to my recovery. Punching a bag and working out has helped me a lot more than AA. I'm not afraid of saying this. Interestingly enough, I've seen some members of the gym I go to at AA meetings, so I'm definitely not the only one who find catharsis in working out. It has been it has been proven scientifically. Woof, what's wrong? Scientifically, that fitness has benefits for people who suffer addiction. The dopamine, the serotonin that is created naturally instead of artificially with drugs. So, that's definitely very important for me and vital to it that I work to do. More importantly, also, it's the discipline that comes with it. The discipline for me of going every day, the discipline of a martial art, the fusion between mind and body that I'm relearning right now. I've always been a gym goer, even, in my deep using days. I will stop for a week or two when I notice my weight loss, just to gain the muscle weight back. Going to the gym will be the only time when I will stop using, just to make back my get back my gains, because when you when you do a lot of cocaine especially, you lose a lot of weight. But yeah, but this time it's not just about muscles and looking good when I go to the gym. It's about, like I said, the discipline and humility of a martial art, especially humility, through which, I get through kickboxing. When you get literally punched in the face, it humbles you a little bit. You stop and ask yourself, how did I get hit? How did that happen? And it forces you to learn the moves, the rules, the dodges. You cannot cheat this stuff. Like, honestly, like, a pill cannot give you muscle memory. A drug cannot give you muscle memory. Funny enough, I see an analogy, a resemblance between that and getting back on track after a relapse. After a relapse, you ask yourself, how the fuck did I get punched again? By falling again into an addiction. Similarly, the process to get back on track and analyze what happened is similar to the same process of a martial art when you lose a fight or when you get hit. I learned so much through kickboxing. That's why I really want to keep my current working out schedule. By the way, shout out to Coach Felipe and the guys from Onyx, my boxing gym. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to figure out definitely how to keep my working out schedule and get back to work. All right, moving on. So yeah, 2 weeks ago, I went to Hekate for the first time. For those outside of New York, Hekate is a 100% sober bar. No alcohol drinks is served there. They make all kind of mocktails and also have a huge selection of non-alcoholic drinks, whether it's Curious Elixir or like those non-alcoholic tea or mushroom tea. I went there with an ex-girlfriend. Don't worry, I'm gonna come back to it. But I want to talk more about Hekate and the atmosphere there. It has like a kind of hocus pocus witch vibe, which I like. The bar tender are really nice and thoughtful. No surprise that place is very popular. We should have more of those, by the way. I think there's a difference. There's something that a bar atmosphere brings that like a coffee shop or tea house doesn't. Like, though you go to a bar sometimes to talk to people, to interact, if you are at a tea house or coffee house, you're on your laptop, you're reading, people are not very inclined to come and talk to you because they think maybe you're working or like you're busy. But in a bar atmosphere, mingling and socializing it's more acceptable, for lack of better word. So those sober spaces, I would definitely recommend for those who are not triggered by the bar atmosphere. To I would definitely recommend to people to check out those places, whatever city you are in. And yeah, I hope like you can check one of those. For those who complain about being a little bit, the cocktails being a little bit pricey for just fancy juice, I think calling it fancy juice is reductive. Those crafted mocktails are include very premium ingredients and skills are involved in their making. Uh, yeah, so some of them are even more expensive to produce to make than actual alcohol. So yeah, the price can be justified definitely. So yeah, like I said, for those who are not triggered by the bar setups, I would recommend definitely Hekate. That's the one I try. I think there's another one in Brooklyn that I would like to try. But yeah, those are more and more popular. All right, so now move on into the meaty part of that day. I haven't talked much about my past relationships in details, so this is a bit awkward for me. So yeah, I met up with my ex girlfriend at Hekate to catch up. We hadn't seen each other in over 5 years, I believe. And she heard about the podcast. Naturally, she reached out to show her support, and talking about what happened through text was not very convenient. Hence, us meeting up at Hekate. I told you know basically the whole point of that interaction was tell her what happened. I told her basically that I started spiraling down right during when we were dating. I was always able to manage my addiction and be present, but I could feel losing grip of my life and losing a grip of my life right when we were dating, and I hid it from her. I never confessed to her. I hid my issues, and few months after we decided to part ways, I went to my first rehab. So yeah, and she had no idea because we were not in communication at the time. There again, I was on fire with someone next to me who had no idea I was suffering, and I was adamant on not saying shit. Back to that avoidant attachment issues. When in rehab, I learned through counseling the different type of attachment based on attachment theory. The attachment theory is the importance of emotional bonds. So the definition of attachment theory is focused on the relationships and bonds between people, particularly long-term relationships, including those between a parent and a child and between romantic partners. This theory teaches us that our early environment with our caregivers shapes how we love and our love through our lifespan. Understanding yourself and your attachment style can have profound implication on your ability to create and sustain meaningful relationships. Attachment theory does not define your personality. That's very important, by the way. Attachment theory does not define your personality. It helps define how you are in relationships. The different established attachment are known as anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, disorganized attachment, and secure attachment. I'm just gonna read you the avoidant attachment here because it That's what I'm suffering from. And yeah, definition of avoidant attachment. You are extremely self-reliant. You have trouble expressing your feelings, emotions. True. You leave and or avoid conflict. True. You have a hard time getting close to others. That's true. You become defensive when you are in conflict. Less for me, not really. You place a higher value on success than emotional connection. I would say true to a certain extent. And the characteristics are undervalue relationships. Safety is not found within others. That's true. I always thought safety would be found within me. Withdrawn from others when overwhelmed. Couldn't speak to any truer. Vulnerability is difficult and feelings are hard to share due to lack of trust. True. Subconsciously sabotaging in relationships to avoid intimacy or commitment. Man, that's me to almost a T. And an example is during childhood, you have most likely experienced a parent or caregiver who is not attuned to your needs and may have given a lack of emotional and or physical connections. True. Caregivers may have overlooked your emotion. Definitely true. So this is the differentiation of avoidance. And yeah, so explaining that avoidant attachment issue what led me to basically value the relationship with her that I had and not experience it in its true potential and not let her know that I was suffering. I thought that was not her problem. That was something that I had to do with my to resolve myself. And basically having that discussion with her gave me some closure, I didn't reach the step 8 and 9 from the 12-step program. For those who don't know, steps 8 and 9 are steps about making amends. But I still felt some closure during our discussion, and now I value my friendship with her a lot more than our romantic relationship. I'm not looking for anything else right now. I believe there's no better feeling when you are aware of what you would like and what you need at the moment. Sometimes what you like, what you would like, and what you need don't always align. And being aware of that and still making able to make the right choice and be satisfied with it is one of the best feelings, because I don't feel confusion. I don't feel like regret or anything. And yeah, it feels very liberating. All right. That's enough for the spill tea. Moving on. Last but not least is I'm planning a trip, my first solo sober trip next month in June. I will be going to Canada for 10 days. 5 days in Montreal, where I will be attending the F1 Grand Prix, and 5 days in Toronto, where I've never been before. So, For those who know me, those who know me know how much I love Formula One. I had the chance to see the Montreal Grand Prix in person back in 2018 or 2017. I had at the time a 3-day pass, but the practice day, the qualification day, and the race day, I missed the first 2 days because barely made it because I was drinking and using, and I barely made it to the race. I was so hangover when I made there, I didn't want to go. But at the time, I was like, if I don't have pictures or on social media of proof that I went there, then people gonna ask questions, so I better show up. So yeah, I even consider not going altogether. That was how hangover and out of it I was. Uh, the the those who haven't been in an F1 race before, it's usually a all weekend event. The after parties, before parties, thrown by liquor and beer sponsor like Heineken as the parties and stuff. Downtown Montreal usually has like a block parties where you can sit in McLarens, play F1 simulators, and then you have a bunch of events revolving around the Grand Prix. And yeah, a lot of those events involve alcohol. So I'm really excited to go there and experience it sober. I feel a lot of excitement, maybe too much. I don't know if I should feel like apprehension or fear. That's not what I'm feeling right now. I'm just happy to go on my first solo trip, Then after that, I'm gonna go to Montreal. No, I say Montreal already. I'm gonna go to Toronto, which has a reputation to be a cleaner New York City. I'm sure that there are other things about it, of course. I've heard that the sober curious movement in Toronto is really strong. Shout out to Keisha from the Done with Debauchery podcast for giving me a list of places that have a great non-alcoholic selection. I plan on visiting a bunch of them. And during those 2 days, I have a game plan. I plan on attending a bunch of AA meetings. I want to see how they do AA north of the border, if they really say sorry. Sorry. That's a bad joke. I apologize. Oh yeah, so yeah. Oh, I forgot. Another thing I plan to do during those vacation is I plan on turning social media off. So there will be no daily podcast, no daily stoic or podcast that week when I will be gone. Last time I was on vacation, I found myself scrolling to social media way too often because I had the time and being concerned with posting things while experiencing them, posting about the race, what I was about at the race instead of watching the race, which I think is so stupid, by the way. Like, it's like going to a concert and posting your picture live while the concert, like, do you really listen to the music? Do you really experience it? What I plan on doing is taking a bunch of pictures, right? While I'm there, sure, but not post them, because when you try to post them, it takes you out of the moment because you need to focus on posting them. So my idea is to cut up social media during those 10 days and just use the normal camera if I want to take pictures, for the memories and stuff. And once I get back, eventually, whenever I have time, I will do a picture dump or video dump on social media. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about this venture. I cannot wait for it, and can't wait. Alright guys, I think that's it for the solo episode. I hope this format with maybe the little jingle between topic is pleasant. Again, I would love you guys if you can show some love and support through the Patreon page. If you have any recommendation on movies we should analyze in addiction and fiction, please let us know. You know where to reach out to us. The time 27 minutes, 28 minutes. So I did it in half an hour. All right, guys. So I will see you later. Bye.